Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thanks. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I got to know your reaction to the Francis Ngannou news. How does that feel being a PFL fighter, having this big name come into the organization and potentially trickle down to you guys?
Yeah. I mean, it feels really good. After, what was it, 2 fights ago, I was debating my options, and I think I went with the right one, going with the PFL. It sounds like they're attracting a ton of names, and it's good for everybody. So,
How about that Jake Paul news? Do you feel like Francis maybe a step above the Jake Paul news just because, Francis is a legitimate fighter? Or do you feel like because Jake Paul has maybe a bigger reach, that might have still been a little bit better than Francis?
um, I mean, it's tough to say because I don't even think Francis is fighting until next year, and he's going to be close to 40. There's a lot of moving parts with Francis, so it's pretty unpredictable. I mean, with Francis, it's like he's gonna want to box too. And like I saw he was talking about what they go with Anthony Joshua, I think. And it's like, man, I mean, that's you could easily go out there and lose that fight and definitely lose some of the mystique. I know it's not MMA, but you know what I'm saying? So I mean Jake Paul is always gonna have that it factor where it's like I really kind of feel like no matter what the guy does, you know what I mean? Like he's people are still gonna want to watch him, still gonna want to watch him fight. It's the same thing with Nate Diaz. He lost a lot of fights. People still like to see him. It's the same thing with Connor. Connor's on a bit of a skid right now, but it's like they have that it factor, man. People are gonna want to watch him fight. So
Have you watched that Connor documentary yet?
no, no, I've been watching Chimp Empire, so I haven't got to it.
Chimp Empire?
Yeah.
What is it about?
It's like these guys spent like like a year and a half just like living in the rainforest with these chimps, and it's pretty cool.
Do you ever find I know there's like a kind of two schools of thought in terms of like your downtime. Some fighters like to sit around and watch fights just for the hell of it, like watching anything that's going to build them up and like, like action movies and war movies. And then there's some that just want to like, I want to learn, I want to be at peace. What's kind of your train of thought when you pick something to watch?
Are you saying for like downtime, like away from training?
Right.
I mean, it's pretty sporadic. I mean, a lot of the time I do a lot of reading, but in terms of what I watch, I mean, I watch the fights pretty much every weekend, and that's like, I kind of get that out, and I live it day to day. We're always kind of in the lab working on stuff, but I mean, late at night, if I do choose to watch something, I kind of want to just turn my brain off and then just go to bed. You know what I mean? Like just relax, hopefully fall asleep.
And what about the news of all of the fighters flagging for drug use all through, I guess, peds, some were diuretics. What were your thoughts when you heard that there was not only fighters, obviously your opponent, your next would-be opponent is out. Just what were your thoughts when that mass amount of number of fighters?
Honestly, I think that there are definitely still more guys that are on the sauce. Even in my division, like there were some of the guys where I was like, "Oh, he popped and he didn't." Like, okay, like I mean, Tiago just got like his well, he got like a jacket for 50 clean tests last year. I mean, dude, it's kind of a joke to be honest with you. And it's you know, they gotta like right now, and I don't think this is just the PFL. I think this is definitely the UFC too. Like they really and USADA, like they have to make a decision, man. Because it's one thing where it's like if you're in like a situation where everybody's doing it, I don't really feel like it's that bad, right? I'm just gonna be pretty blunt and honest with you. I mean, if it's like they have it in your contracts where it's like what was the old Pride one where they said we're not going to drug test you? So it's like kind of implied that they want you to be on steroids. So it's like okay, well then let everybody do it. But the issue with like USADA and a lot of them now is what they're doing is they're saying that we have a clean sport, we have this or that, and it's like there's no fucking way. Like the fighting community is not that big. Like guys know each other. We hear things. We talk around. And the thing about it's like you would think a lot of fighters wouldn't gossip, but a lot of them fucking do. And I think the steroid use is maybe some of the worst that it's been, since I've even turned professional. Like I think it's like they PFL did not like there were a lot more than 9 guys that are juicing in the PFL right now. Like I'll put it that way. Um, Now, when I think of it, I mean, what, like 2 or 3 of the guys that, I mean, it's in my division for sure. I think like 3 of them, most of them lost. So it's not like this end all be all kind of thing. But it is like, I mean, I considered it, if I'm being honest with you. It's like there's a lot of money on the line. I knew that everybody was doing it. And then lo and behold, half of my bracket, you know what I mean? Like I ended up not doing it. It's just like, I don't think you need it to win kind of thing. I'm not like, if you know me, I'm just a very, like, I don't want to plan all this shit out, to be honest with you. And like, I don't want to have to cheat, like, if that's like the rules, you know what I mean? But I was talking to even Corey Sandhagen about it the other day, and even he feels the same way about, like I think that there are a lot of people, like even in USADA, that are juicing. Like I think that it's some of the worst that has been. I think there are a lot more guys doing it. I think there are a lot more guys in my bracket that are doing it. I think it's gonna get worse before it gets better. And I think that it's a pretty delicate moment right now because like I'm speaking very candidly about it, but if guys think that they're the only reason they're losing or a substantial part of the reason they're losing is because everybody else is on the sauce, a lot of guys are going to get on the sauce. You know what I mean? If I go on a skid right now, let's say, and I get knocked out in my like next 2 or 3 fights, right? And I don't win this $1 million, like what position am I in then? But then I see that all these guys that did that, they're on the sauce. It's like what am I gonna think? You know what I mean? So it's just right now, and again, it's not just the PFL. I don't want it to seem like it's just them because I think the UFC is dirty as shit right now when it comes to fighting. Um, like they need to figure it out because I think if people start to lose faith in the system, which I think that they are, I think again it's going to get even way worse before it gets better. So,
So do you think the solution is to just allow it and just say, just forget about it at this point?
man, I don't know. I mean, I just fight. I don't think of all that stuff, but I'm saying what I think is going to happen. I'm saying right now, like it seems like USADA and a lot of people think that like we have this clean sport. It's like, dude, I'm not gonna name names, but look at some of the fucking guys in my bracket. Like, there's no way these guys are fucking natural. Like, it's just full of a lot of it's like full of, like middleweights that want to move up to light heavyweight, and they get suspiciously juicy. You know what I mean? Um, so I don't know what the solution is, but right now, it for me, it's like if you say, Amy, if you say, hey man, let's get an interview this week, if you have time, like sure, we never set a date or a time. It doesn't happen. It's like, I'm not going to be mad. You have stuff to do. I have stuff to do. But if you say like, Ty, we're going to have this interview at 1:45 on Thursday, and then it doesn't happen, that's going to be kind of annoying because I cleared my schedule, right? That's kind of how I feel like with a lot of the drug testing is right now. Like they're saying it's clean. They're saying that like they're over promising and under delivering right now. So I don't know what the solution is. But what I will say is like stop saying, like guys are clean. Stop saying that no one's juicing. Stop acting like you're really doing a whole lot because I don't think that you really are. Um, and to be perfectly honest with you, they have it in our contracts where it says we're going to test you 3 days before the fight and 3 days after. So don't get me wrong. Like if you're going to cheat, that's wrong. But how fucking stupid are you? Where they literally tell you the time frame they're going to fucking test you. It's like you should get suspended for cheating for sure, right? You should also get an additional suspension for being a fucking moron. Like they're telling you when they're gonna like test you, and you're still failing the tests. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
so there's like this additional thing there where it's like I kind of almost wonder how much they like. It kind of seemed like a shock to them. Like maybe they were pushing us to juice. Like maybe it was one of those things where it's like, and now I'm just kind of talking out of my ass, but it's one of those things where it's like it reminded me a lot of the Pride contracts, right? Where like we're not going to drug test you. It's like they gave us a specific time window, and the way I read that, to be honest with you, is like they're telling me that I can like as long as I'm clean within those, I guess 6 days, 3 days before the fight, 3 days after. So I guess within that week, I'm good to go. And like I said, man, like I'll call it when I see it. There's way more guys juicing in the PFL. It's and in my bracket too. Like I don't think it's going to help them, but it is what it is.
So obviously this whole situation forced Jotko out. That's who you were going to fight. Now you're fighting Rob Wilkinson. Seems like you got two of the, hardest fights right off the bat. What were your thoughts when you heard first that it was going to be Jotko and then now it's going to be Rob? What were your thoughts? Like, are you excited more for that fight? Less? Like, what were your thoughts going through your mind there?
So I'm excited more. I mean, I was actually Jocko was gonna be my first guy, and then they gave me Monte. Um, and then, like, honestly, mentally, I've been preparing for Rob because I think he's the most skilled guy in the bracket. So it wasn't like a surprise to me. It was one of those things where it's like, all right, I've already been doing like mental reps. Like I was planning on facing him in the finals, but if you give it to me now, like I think he's the deadliest guy in the division. I even look at some of the new guys that they signed, and nothing really jumps out. So for me, it's like hell yeah, man. Like I know if I win this fight, it's like that plays very well for me for the rest of the tournament.
What sort of fight are you expecting from him? Do you feel like it's going to go 3 rounds with him, or you feel like you can get in and out of there?
No, I feel like he's gonna try and knock me out in the first round, and I think that I'm gonna be a dog. I'm gonna be a lot tougher than he thinks, and I think that you know, I think it's gonna be a dogfight.
What do you think in terms of who's going to make it to the next round? What 4 fighters do you kind of see making it past this round?
Um, so should I just fought Monte. So Vera's stand up is, I mean, Monte could knock him out. That could happen. Um, but I wouldn't be surprised if Silveira gets a pretty quick submission, so I could see him in there. Martin Hamlet, they just keep giving easy fucking matchups to. So I see him in there. Um, and then I could see, like either Rob or myself. Like that was kind of going into it, is what I thought, because I had Rob beating Fleury before he failed his drug test too. I'm trying to think. I mean, Andrew Sanchez is pretty good. Um, I've actually trained with him before. He's really the only other guy that really jumps out at me out of the newer guys that got signed. But it just depends, man. Like the point system is going to be kind of weird now with all of these late replacements. You know what I mean? Like I could definitely see Andrew Sanchez winning a decision. I don't know anything about the guy he's fighting really, but yeah, man. I think it's such a toss up right now. Like I feel like it's like anybody can clinch a playoff spot.
And who do you see in the finals?
I would like I would like to see myself and Martin Hamlet because he kind of annoyed me. Like I just the way he beat the guy that he beat, like I didn't think it was impressive. I think that they kind of gave him an easy matchup, and yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't really impressed with him, or even Silver, because I like Silver too because I'm not too impressed with his striking, but I mean he's Conan Silver's son. He trains out of a good team, and he'd be a really good test for my grappling skills. So I would think either of those two because they're also both ahead of me in points right now. Anyway,
How much do you really pay attention? I mean, I know you have to pay attention to the points, but when you're training, do you kind of have to adjust your game plan knowing, hey, I need X amount of points, so I have to get a knockout or I have to get a finish, or how much do the points play into your game plan?
they don't because like if I could go out there and get a first round finish, like who wouldn't like that? You know what I mean? But it's also like I'm not gonna put myself into more, you know what I mean? Like going for that first round knockout, like I feel like that could also I could put myself in way more danger. You saw that with the guy I just fought last season. He had a first round knockout, but then he also got knocked out, the first round both fights. And it's like, yeah, man. I mean, I want to win this tournament. I want to win this season, but like this isn't like the end all be all of my fighting career. Like I'm gonna fight in 2024. You know what I mean? Like it's not worth the unnecessary damage I think some of these guys will go out there and take. And don't get me wrong, I tend to have dogfights anyway and go after it, but it's like I'm not gonna try and nothing in my head's like I gotta go out there and kill this guy in the first round just because I get 6 points. It's like if I win a decision or if I beat him in the second or the third, a win's a win. That's the most important thing.
And I guess my last question, hopefully a fun one. With Francis coming in and Jake Paul coming in, who could the PFL sign in your division that would get you excited?
In my division, that would get me excited. Huh, man. Like maybe he's so old right now, but Yoel Romero would be cool. I think he's fighting for the title, so I don't think that's But I mean, let's say he loses and he's a free agent. I think that would be awesome. I mean, he's so old, and it's not a disrespect to him, but it's like y'all is one of my most, you know, that's one of my favorite fighters to watch, and like that would be y'all would be a terrifying but awesome fight. So
You just want him to kiss you at the end of the fight, don't you?
no, absolutely not. But if the fight goes the wrong way, I don't think I'd have a choice.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
You too. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.